Nina had always been a fighter. She had grown up in a family that had to fight for every little thing they had. So when she opened her coffee shop in Kathmandu, she knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was ready for the challenge. And for a while, things went well. Her coffee shop was a hit. One morning, Nina saw one very weak black female puppy nearby her cafe. Obviously, someone had mercilessly dumped this puppy near her cafe. She took the puppy inside. She took this puppy in her apartment. She named it Callie, and they lived together happily. And she had regular customers who loved her coffee and her warm personality. But then, one day, things started to change. The country was hit by a severe depression, and people's incomes were drastically reduced. Nina's coffee shop started losing customers, and she was soon struggling to make ends meet.
Hi, I am Nina. Please visit my cafe at Bellagio Kathmandu for relaxed sitting and pleasant environment.
Despite her best efforts, she couldn't save her business, and she had to close it down. With no income and no prospects, Nina had to make some tough decisions. She lived in a rented house, and the landlord was demanding that she leave. She had 2 dogs, and she knew that finding a new place that would allow them both would be difficult, if not impossible. And so, with a heavy heart, she made the decision to leave Callie on the streets and move on without her. It was a heart-wrenching decision. Callie was her little baby, her constant companion, and the only thing she had left in the world. But Nina knew that she had no other choice. She had no money to start a new business, no savings to fall back on, and no family or friends who could help her. She was on her own, and she had to do what she had to do. She spent her last day with Callie, taking her for long walks, playing with her, and showering her with love and affection. Callie, for her part, seemed to sense that something was wrong. She clung to Nina, refusing to leave her side, and whimpering every time Nina tried to put her down. It was as if Callie knew that she was about to lose her best friend forever. The next morning, Nina woke up early, packed her bags, and prepared to leave. Callie was sitting on the floor, watching her every move. Nina tried to keep her emotions in check, but she couldn't help the tears that were streaming down her face. She knelt down next to Callie and hugged her tightly. "I love you, Callie," she whispered. "I'll never forget you."
I love you, Callie. I'll never forget you.
Then, with a heavy heart, Nina picked up her bags and left. Callie watched her go, whimpering softly. She was confused and scared, not understanding why her best friend was leaving her behind. But Nina had no other choice. She had to leave Callie behind and hope that she would find a new home, somewhere safe and warm, where she could live out the rest of her days in peace. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Nina had moved on with her life, but she never forgot about Callie. She often wondered where she was and if she was okay. She hoped that someone had found her and given her a new home, a place where she would be loved and cared for. But the reality was much harsher than Nina had imagined. Callie was alone on the streets, fending for herself. She was skinny and malnourished, and she often had to go without food for days on end. She was afraid of people and other dogs, and she spent most of her time hiding in dark alleys or under abandoned buildings. One day, Callie was digging through a pile of garbage, searching for something to eat, when she heard a loud noise. She looked up and saw a group of stray dogs running towards her. She knew that she couldn't outrun them, so she huddled against the wall and prepared for the worst. But to her surprise, the pack of dogs ran right past her, chasing after a small rat that had scurried across the street. In that moment, Callie realized how alone she was. She had no one to protect her, no one to keep her safe. She was completely and utterly alone. And so, she did the only thing she could do. She curled up in a ball and cried herself to sleep. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Callie was still on the streets, still struggling to survive. She was always hungry, always cold, and always afraid. She missed Nina terribly, and she often wondered what had happened to her. Had she found a new home? Had she moved on with her life? Callie didn't know, and she couldn't bear the thought of never seeing her best friend again. Then, one day, something tragic happened. Callie was wandering through the streets, looking for food, when she was hit by a motorbike. She was laying beside the street in a pool of blood. Someone posted her picture in Facebook group. A person came and took Callie to veterinary clinic. The same person came to look after her. At first, Callie was afraid with him. She didn't know this person, and she didn't trust him. But something in his voices and in his eyes made her feel safe. He didn't seem to want to hurt her. He just wanted to help. He gave her food and water and talked to her softly and kindly. He didn't force her to do anything she didn't want to do, and he didn't push her away. He just waited patiently for her to trust him. One day, the person who had been caring for Callie told her that they were going to take her to a special place, a place where she would be safe and happy. Callie was scared at first. She didn't want to leave her new friends, and she didn't know what this new place would be like. But they promised her that it would be a good place, a place where she would be loved and cared for. And so, with a heavy heart, Callie said goodbye to her new friends and followed them to a taxi. The taxi ride was scary for Callie. She had never been in a taxi before, and she didn't like the way it bounced and jostled. But she stayed calm, and eventually, they arrived at their destination. It was a big, beautiful house with a big yard and lots of other dogs running around. Callie was scared at first when she arrived at Shree's Care Rescue Shelter. She didn't know any of these dogs, and she didn't know how to behave around them. But the person who had brought her there was kind and patient. A mother lady introduced her to each dog one by one, and she made sure that she felt safe and secure. And so, after accident recovering, Callie settled into her new life. She had a warm bed to sleep in, plenty of food to eat, and lots of new friends to play with. She missed Nina terribly, but she was starting to realize that maybe there was a happy ending for her after all. Years passed, and Callie grew old. She was no longer the shy, scared little puppy that Nina had found on the street. She was a confident, loving dog who had found a new family and a new home. But even though she was happy, she never forgot about Nina. She often wondered what had happened to her, and she hoped that someday they would be reunited. Then, one day, something amazing happened. Callie was sleeping in her favorite spot in the yard when she heard a familiar voice calling her name.
Callie.
She opened her eyes and saw a woman standing at the gate. At first, Callie didn't recognize her, but then she realized that it was Nina. Callie jumped up and ran towards her, barking with joy. Nina opened the gate, and Callie ran out to greet her. They hugged and kissed each other, and Callie knew that she was finally home. Nina explained that she had been searching for Callie for years. She had never forgotten about her, and she had always hoped that someday they would be reunited. From Facebook posts, she had known that Callie was in Shree's shelter since past 2 years. And now, finally, her dream had come true to reunite with Callie. Over the years, Nina had met a nice guy and married. Her husband was also an animal lover. They lived in their own house in Kathmandu. Callie was overjoyed to be back with Nina. She showed her around the house and introduced her to all of her new friends. Nina was amazed at how much Callie had grown and how much she had changed. But even though she was different, she was still the same sweet dog that Nina had rescued all those years ago. And so, Callie and Nina lived happily ever after. They spent their days exploring the city, playing in the yard, and cuddling on the couch. Callie was no longer afraid of the outside world because she knew that she had Nina by her side. And Nina was grateful every day for the little black puppy that had changed her life forever.